Hey everyone, today I want to learn chapter 18 of Psalms with you, and this is a massive chapter. It has 51 verses, so I've chosen a few verses to share with you. So, first, it's going to be verses 4 through about 8. With praises I call upon God, and I am saved from my enemies. For the pangs of death surrounded me, and torrents of evil people terrified me. Pangs of the grave encompassed me, snares of death confronted me. Okay, so that's until verse 7. So right now what's going on in the world is in the Middle East conflict, there are about 220 people held in captivity, people that are being held in hostage. And so these people, this verse pertains exactly to them. Torrents of evil people terrified me, pangs of the grave encompassed me. They are aware of the situation that many people have been killed and that they may not make it out alive. Until now, when this video is being recorded, I've seen that two and one hostages have been freed. The first two that I heard about was a mother and daughter from Chicago. The second two I'm not really familiar with. I just saw on Google that another two were freed, and then I saw on social media that an 85-year-old woman, I believe she's a Holocaust survivor, was also freed, and I think she's Israeli. She says that she was beaten with a wooden stick. In my distress, I called upon God. I cried out to my God, and from his sanctuary he heard my voice, and my supplication before him reached his ears. Now this is verse 8, and this is uncanny. It says, "The earth trembled and quaked. The foundations of the mountains shook. They trembled when his wrath flared." Okay, do you know what else happened on October 7th, the day that Hamas attacked Israel? On the same day, at 11:11 a.m., Afghanistan had a 6.3 earthquake. A magnitude 6.3 earthquake is tremendous. It's huge, and it causes a lot of damage. Over 2,000 people, men, women, and children in Afghanistan were killed at 11:11 a.m. on the same day that Hamas invaded and attacked and murdered 1,400 Israeli civilians, men, women, and children, and elderly. So what does Afghanistan have to do with any of this? Well, as you probably know, a couple years ago, our beloved president pulled the US military out of Afghanistan, but he left all of our weapons there. We're talking about millions of dollars worth of tanks, helicopters, and all kinds of military weapons were left in Afghanistan. So what's Afghanistan going to do with all of these weapons? Well, probably sell them to their neighbors. And Iran hates the Jews, and they also support Hamas. So most likely Iran purchased weapons from Afghanistan, which were then used by Hamas to kill innocent civilians in Israel, including their own civilians. As you know, missiles were dropped on Palestinian civilians as well. A lot of innocent Palestinian people died too. So one thing that people need to understand is Hamas is a terrorist organization, and they have taken power by force. The Palestinian people, however, are powerless to rise up against them. Like, imagine if the US government was taken over by a terrorist organization and they control all of the electricity, the water, the food, they control the media. You do not have freedom of speech. If you say anything against the government, they will shut you down. They will even kill you publicly. So there's a lot of fear. So what needs to happen is we need to all come together, all of the civilized nations of the world, and just eliminate terrorism everywhere. Not only Hamas, Al Qaeda. We already eliminated ISIS, but terrorism is a cancer in our society and it's not compatible with life. Okay, it says here that the period, this is coming from chapter 18, verse 28. This is the commentary on the verse. The period immediately preceding the redemption will be rife with difficulties. Disrespect will grow rampant. Learning centers will be used for debauchery. This is what Hamas is doing. They have underground tunnels which they hide underneath schools and hospitals and other places that would make Israel look really bad if they attacked. It says, for just as the night grows darkest in the moment before dawn breaks, society will grow darkest just before it is illuminated by the light of redemption. So this gives us hope that although there's a lot of darkness in the world right now, that hopefully the light is coming soon. And I believe the fact that some of the hostages were freed is a small miracle, and that is giving us light in the darkness, because it's not clearly understood why they were freed. I don't think that they received anything in return. Maybe the Palestinian people, the Hamas people that took them as hostage are remorseful. I did see that Hamas was paying people $10,000 and promising them also an apartment for every hostage that they took. Maybe if they didn't make due on their promises, the people had a change of heart. I don't know exactly what happened there. Okay, now I'm going to jump to verse 38, where it says, I have pursued my enemies and overtook them. This is King David talking. I did not turn back until I destroyed them. And this is what we need to do. We need to destroy Hamas and all terrorist organizations, because they're not only against Israel and the Jews. They are against Western civilization. They are against gays. They are against women. They do horrible things against women. Like in an Arab country, if a woman is raped, it's her fault and she's seen as the evil one. And if you're gay, they kill you. And so there's no freedoms in these places. And to talk about numbers, so I mentioned that the earthquake happened at 11:11 a.m. So 1111 is definitely like a mystical sign that it's like divine intervention, that it's not just like a coincidence that this earthquake happened at this time. And I'm getting this information from Google, so you can confirm my facts. Also, just to put some things in perspective, to give you a few more numbers, according to Google, there's 16.1 million Jews in the world, which is 0.2% of the 8 billion worldwide population. And just to give you perspective, there's 1.8 billion Muslims in the world. So Muslims are almost 25% of the population, whereas Jews are less than 1% of the world population. And to give you some further numbers for perspective, a city in China that probably most people have never heard of, Chengdu, China, has 16.3 million people, whereas there's only 16.1 million Jews in the entire world, which is less than one single city in China. Another set of numbers I just wanted to throw out there is that in Israel, according to Google, there's 6.8 million Jews, whereas there are 5.4 million Gazans, aka Palestinians. So it's telling us about the evildoers that we must crush them. Okay, I crushed them so that they were unable to rise. We must eliminate terrorism from the face of the earth. They are fallen beneath my feet. You have girded me with strength for battle. You have subdued my adversaries beneath me. You have made my enemies turn their backs to me as they fled, and my foes I cut down. They cried out, but there was none to deliver them. They cried out to God. He did not answer them. So it's very firmly telling us that we cannot accept and we cannot tolerate, terrorism. And then, lo and behold, the word Hamas appears again in Psalm 18, verse 49. It says, "Who rescues me from my enemies? Who exalts me above my adversaries? Who delivers me from the man of violence?" And the man of violence in Hebrew is Me'ish Hamas. Tatzileni. Me'ish means from a man. Hamas means violence. Tatzileni, like you will deliver me, talking to God. So wow, this was just a loaded psalm, 51 verses, a lot to talk about. I want to give hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that this is the darkness before the dawn. And so some actionables would be to pray to God, to have faith that even though it looks dark right now, to try to see the lightness within the dark, and to also be on the side of good, be on the side of truth and justice, and don't be one of those people who stays silent, because silence is consent. And I know this is a confusing issue and a lot of people don't fully understand it, but it's very important to be on the right side of history. So thanks for watching. God bless you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.